Joe rings me up and he says, "Can you write a song at the lookout?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll do it, Joe." So this is because Joe lives down the Merchants, and the Merchants probably suffered the most in East Row, maybe in Dublin, because of the lockout. For months we were fighting for wages and rights. The unions are helping the workers unite. Men on the streets hanging in groups, watching the women beg for soup. Faces are drawn and their shoulders are bent. The pain pitch and toss with money they've lent. We've nothing to sell and we've nothing to pawn, and nothing to do while the luck goes on. Early this morning the bailiffs arrived. We bolted the doors to the children inside. Patrol the commoners out in the street, and breaking up every street that they own. The windows are shut and the curtains are drawn. Gone down the eyes of the scarves looking on. We've nothing to sell and we've nothing to pawn, and nothing to do while the luck goes on. Businessman's wringing his hands. He won't let the union be thwarting his plans. And his black lace got fat on the money they made, and he's hoping that soon the workers will break. The papers he owns make villains of men. He sent them to hell, but we'll rise again. And there's nothing to sell and we've nothing to pawn, and nothing to do while the lockup goes on. While our brothers in England refused to call, the battle was lost, the unions did fall. Was broken by hunger and fear, and treason, traitors and children's tears. The workers have lost, the boss is shamed. They sent us to hell, but we'll rise again. And nothing to sell and we've nothing to pawn, and nothing to do while the lockup goes on. We've nothing to sell and we've nothing to pawn, and nothing to do while the lockup goes on. Thank you very much. And I'd like to do a song that pretty fancy had to off because we had a very moving weekend last November in Belfast. The Doctors Club in Belfast had organised that everybody from the Doctors Club who had died over the years, they got a photograph put up, and they put up a sort of Hall of Fame in their club building. And the great privilege of being able to play one of my songs there. I wrote a song for I wrote a song for a friend of mine whose father was killed working unloading wood on the docks. And the man actually, he only lived right across the road. So, but when I played this song, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Even though the couple didn't even know where Clontarf was. We were sipping on our last drinks, getting ready for to leave. John says it's been 30 years, it's hard to believe. Lately all my memories run like filth in black and white. The picture's poor and frayed, the sound is not quite right. I see Hotel in the background, in the foreground it's the sea. And I'm looking up at mine, she's looking back at me. And the car in front is long and black. The car in front is slowing down, it's long and it's black. There's a stranger at the wheel, and Daddy's in the back. One last jaunt along the coast, one last look across the bay, one last jaunt along the coast. Daddy would have wanted it that way. Now we follow at distance, I am still taking in the view. The choppy waves, the boats, remind me of you. And the car in front is slowing down, the driver gives a sign. The world is turning slower, sure he's playing a trick on time. One last jaunt along the coast, one last look across the bay, one last jaunt along the coast. Sure, Daddy would have wanted it that way. We're stepping onto gravel, and Mommy takes me hand. Someone asks how she's keeping, she says, sure, I will be grand. And the driver wipes his forehead, he stops talking to his mate. And then we drive back empty, past the cemetery gates. For one last jaunt along the coast, one last look across the bay, one last jaunt along the coast. Sure, Daddy would have wanted it that way. I spent most of my early childhood on the Caledon Road at my granny's house. My mother is a carrick. Most of the carricks worked down the docks, and her father worked on the docks. Her father died in 1947. He'd worked all his life on the Cuttle, the steamer between here and Glasgow. And he was one of the 1947 when they initiated the buttons. He actually got a button, but he was very sick, and he hadn't got much pleasure from his button. He died, and the button was passed on to his son. So I was brought up in the whole atmosphere of donkey jackets. I thought donkey jackets were those evening wear when I was growing up. So, but I wrote a song about the reed. Lie up in the morning and stare at your shoes, like meat for gaffers to pagan to Jews. A tap on the shoulder, he gives you the sign. You can hop coal all day for 2 shillings and 9. 1 for to drive it, 1 for to guide, 4 to fill it in the darkness inside. And you'll work like a miner, shoveling coal. breaking your back deep down in the hold. I'm telling you, Jack, life's not the same when you spend your day alone that 100-ton crane. And you'll think of the blacks with their catchy work songs, plucking the cotton and humming along. But you won't be singing, you just try to breathe when you're coughing up blood, when your lungs start to bleed. And I'm telling you, Jack, life's not the same when you spend your day alone that 100-ton crane. Now to pick up your pay, there's no need to go far. They're dishing it out in the Liverpool bar. And you'll envy the cattlemen, envy their trade, with your black hands clenched if you bought that you made. And I'm telling you, Jack, life's not the same when you spend your day alone that 100-ton crane. In the morning when you're leaving your home, it's fog in the evening, choking the town. You'll head up the hill, now you've finished your shift, but you'll be back the next day to shovel and lift. And I'm telling you, Jack, life's not the same when you spend your day alone that 100-ton crane. I'm telling you, Jack, life's not the same when you spend your day alone that 100-ton crane. I'm going to do one more song and a really special guest for you. So this is a song I wrote for the ladies club. I don't think there's any of you, or maybe there are. Yes, there are. And this is a song I wrote about the demise of Radbournes. There's quite a few of the ladies I ran into down here. We stood in line, side by side, just like we'd done for years. And we watched kettles and poured the wax, now holding back the tears. And the wind that blew the papers from the wharf to the town was harsh and cold the day we watched them shut our factory down. Blow ye winds of progress from the ferry to the town. It's an ill wind that blew the day they shut our factory down. Now a good 500 years or more our candles we had made. These wax poured me chandlers, masters in their trade. And we watched them cut production lines where our gaffers once had frowned. And the wind sent shivers down our backs as they shut our factory down. Blow ye winds of progress from the ferry to the town. It's an ill wind that blew the day they shut our factory down. Now there was a time we helped to light each church and sacred heart. Now we looked on helpless as they tore our world apart. But if we should meet in Grand Street somewhere around the town, should we talk about the times before they shut our factory down? Blow ye winds of progress from the ferry to the town. It's an ill wind that blew the day they shut our factory down. Blow ye winds of progress from the ferry to the town. It's an ill wind that blew the day they shut our factory down. I'd like to introduce Diarmuid from singing a couple of songs. And I've never heard anybody sounding as Dublin as this man does.
I was just going to sing a couple of songs. You're going to finish off, aren't you? Yeah. They're both related to what's been talked about here today. The first one is the song called Dublin 1913, or sometimes called The Ballad of Jim Larkin. And Francie referred to it earlier. He gave a few lines from it. I'll tell you about the second one in a minute. Excuse me. On the list is this. Yeah. Afraid not. In Dublin City in 1913, the boss was rich and the poor were slaves. The women working, the children hungry, till on came Larkin like a mighty wave. The workman cringed when the boss man thundered. 7 years was his weekly chore. He asked for little and less was granted. Less granting little, he should ask for more. In the month of August, the boss man told us no union man for him could work. We stood by Larkin and told the boss man we'd fight or die, but we would not shirk. For 8 months we fought and 8 months we starved. We stood by Larkin through thick and thin. But foodless homes and the cry of children, they broke our hearts and we could not win. When Larkin left us, we seemed defeated. The night was dark for the working man. But on came Connolly with new hope and counsel. His motto was that we'd rise again. In Dublin City in 1916, the British soldiers, they burnt our town. They shot the leaders and shelled the buildings. The harp was buried beneath the crown. They shot McDermott and Pearse and Plunkett. They shot MacDonagh and Clark the Brave. From Bleakilmainham they took Ken's body to Arbour Hill and a quicklime grave. Foremost of all of those 7 leaders, I praise the name of James Connolly. The voice of labour, the voice of justice, he gave his life that we might be free. Left out a verse there about Connolly Royal. Sorry about that. The next song is called Pat O'Donnell. Pat O'Donnell is famous for having bumped off an informer called Carey. The Lord Lieutenant of Ireland and the Chief Secretary were, according to some sayings, murdered, according to other sayings, executed in the Phoenix Park. And it's remarkable that in our history is nearly always referred to as the Phoenix Park's murders. I can't think of any other country where two representatives of an occupying state who were killed would be referred to as the murders. They'd be referred to more neutrally as the assassinations. But it's maybe a reflection on how we look at things, well, how from the top down things are looked at in this country. But anyway, Carey was, like most of the Invincibles who carried out the assassinations, and who carried out a number of other assassinations as well, they were all trade union men. They were members of builders' unions that worked for the corporation, and Carey himself was one. And the really bad thing about Carey being a reformer was that Carey was actually part of the assassination squad. He was the one who gave the signal. He's also referred to in the song Monto, which is might heard, when Carey told on Skin the Goat. Skin the Goat was the name of the nickname of the getaway driver. O'Donnell called him on the boat. He wished he'd never been afloat, the dirty skite. But in this song, and there is a big dispute about whether O'Donnell was actually sent to kill him, or it was just accidental that he found out who he was on the boat and was so disgusted that he killed him. But Carey was detested all over Ireland, even by liberal people who would be quite pro-establishment and who were shocked at the killings. Carey was despised. So maybe it was the first witness protection program in history, and it went really badly wrong. My name is Pat O'Donnell. I come from Donegal. I am no most dangerous foe to traitors one and all. For the shooting of James Carey, I've been tried in London town, and now upon the gallows high, my life I must lay down. I stepped on board the ship Melrose in August '83. 'Twas on that cruel voyage he was made known to me. When I heard he was James Carey, we had angry words and blows, and the villain tried to take my life on board the ship Melrose. Well, I stood up to defend myself, to fight before I died. My pocket pistol I drew forth, and at him I let fly. We fired until the second round, when I shot him through the heart, and I gave him the third revolver shot before he did depart. Well, the captain had me handcuffed and guarded iron bound. I was kept a prisoner till we landed in Cape Town. I was then sent back to England, where my trial it soon came on, and the prosecutors for the crown were Carey's wife and son. Oh, the jury found me guilty, and the judge made this reply: for the murder of James Carey, O'Donnell, you must die. On the 21st of December, and on the gallows high, may the Lord have mercy on your soul, for your hour is drawing nigh. Good Christians all, both great and small, kind Christians for me pray. 'Tis true I am an Irishman, this is my dying day. My grave is lying open, I'm ready now to die. Say a prayer for the soul of O'Donnell, when in his grave he lies.